Hey guys, in today's video we will be learning how we can use the new tileset and tilemap system in Godot 4. There were not very many in-depth tutorials on YouTube, so this will be my best shot at explaining to you how we can do this. And hopefully by the end of this video we would have a game like this. This is my jam entry for the Godot Wild Jam, but this was my main learning experience for tile maps. Basically I learned about the occlusions and stuff, but I have not yet perfected the skills, so I will be trying my best to explain it in this video. So without any further ado, let's get started. So first of all, I am assuming you have created a new project in Godot 4 and downloaded the tileset that I have given in the description. So let's start by creating a 2D scene and name this our main scene. So let's first focus on the tile maps. So let's add a child to our main node, and we will be adding the tile map node. And here in the inspector we are going to create a new tile set, and we don't need these settings basically for now. So let's extend the bottom bar here and go to the tileset tab and drag and drop our texture. Godot will try to automatically create tiles. If we click on yes, we can see that they are not arranged properly, so we have to change this a bit. We're gonna have to do 8 by 8, and let's click on this and create tiles automatically. So this will create all the necessary tiles. So I will be dividing this video into chapters, so it would be easy for your use. So let's start. So we have set up our basic tile set. We are using a tile sheet here, but let's make an example scene. Let's call this fire torch, and let's add a bright 2D, and we are gonna use the same texture we used. And under region we're gonna enable the region, edit region, and zoom in. We need to change our project settings to fix this blurriness, but basically this will be our torch. First let's configure our project. So we can come here and go to filter, and under rendering textures we can change it from linear to nearest. This is the perfect option for pixel art games like the ones we are making, and I think it gets most of the texture correctly. Oh, let's enable pixel snap so it will be easier. Now we can just snap this into place, and I think that's it. If we zoom in, we can see that this is our torch. Now let's save this as our fire torch, and here we in Godot 4 we can use event scenes in the tile map. So from here click on the plus icon and create a new scenes collection, and under this we can give it a name if we want. Let's call it collection for now, and under this we can add a new scene. We click on this and here we can select the scene. So we are gonna quick load our fire torch scene, and if we now go to our tile map paint, select this, we will be able to paint the fire torch. So let's not get jump straight into the tile map just yet, because we need to configure our tile set. So first of all, let me include one more thing. Let's say we have got two tile sets over here and we want to merge them. So here we can do open atlas merging tool and we can combine these two atlases together to create a new tile. We can do this, which will keep the original tile sets and create a new tile, or we can just merge. But for now we don't need this, so we are just gonna skip over that. Next comes the topic of collisions, occlusion and navigation. So I will be covering collisions and occlusions. Navigations is basically the same thing. So let's start with collisions. So under in the inspector tab, under physics layer, we are gonna create a new layer, and we can have multiple layers, and you can customize which layers it interact with. But in this today's video, to keep things simple, we are gonna use only one layer. So let's head over in the Tileset tab. Let's head over to the paint option and select the physics layer, and you can see it gives a complete square. So let's see, we want this to be a complete, oh, you can see the tile is not perfect because we need to change the tile size from here. We are gonna need to 8 by 8. Yes, now let's try to resize it. Nice. So now we can click on here and add our collisions. So let's see, we want collision on this block, this block, this block. Basically the blocks we want collisions on. These are ground blocks, so we definitely need collisions on that. And this is the bottom of the water block, we need collision on this, this and this. And I think that's pretty much it. We can also add a collision on the water drain just to make things a bit more fun, I guess. So that's how we create collisions. So now this blocks will interact with our player. Now let's move on to occlusion layers. So in the inspector tab under rendering, here we will find the hidden option occlusion layers. So let's create an element under this. Again, to keep things simple, I will be using only occlusion layer in this video. Only one occlusion layer in this video, but again you can use multiple. So let's select the occlusion layer, and like the other layer we can click and mark which blocks will occlude light and which will not. So again, basically I will say select the same blocks. Oh, we can also add collision for the bottom of the lava pit one. So we'll add that shortly. I think that's all of the blocks. Now let's do that for that one. We go to physics layer and create one here. So you can see we got our physics and occlusion layer set up pretty easily, and I think navigation layers will also be pretty much similar to this, but I have no experience with it, so I cannot give my proper opinion on this. But I will be linking a good tutorial if I find one, or we will make a tutorial about it in the future. So yeah, that's pretty simple to do. So moving on to custom data layers. These are added in Godot 4.0 and they can pretty much do anything we want. So let's call this grass for now, and it is under inspector custom data layers, and we can add it here. And from type we can do any type we want. Again, to assign this to any block we can go under paint navigation, paint properties, and let's go custom data grass. So let's say we want grass with this block, we cannot paint. I guess that's because we need to assign a type. Let's do a object, I guess. And here you can see we can pretty much make this into anything we want. Lots of options right here. Again, I am not completely sure how this works. There will be a in-depth tutorial on this in the future, and I will also be linking a tutorial in the video description, so that should help you out for now. And let's get to some details on this. So let's select this tile and take a look at what we have. In the editing of select tab, we can increase the size. You can see it's invalid because we do not have empty space around it. This can also now take animations. We do not have any animations right here, but to get the idea, you can now use animations. You can select a block, then the adjacent block can be used as animation frames. We got rendering. Basically, this is like an inspector for a single tab. So we can also right click a tab and create an alternative tile, and alternative tiles will appear here. You can select it and we will have basically the same options. These are helpful. Let's say we have this tile but we do not have the flip version of it. We can create an alternative tile for it and we can flip it horizontally. Now we have two versions of the tile. So basically it's useful in stuff like this. Now comes to the new auto tiling in Godot 4, that is terrains. And before we get into terrains, I would suggest you that you save this tile set now, and you should save your tile sets pretty often because in bigger projects, this is just a demo, we would not need this again, but in bigger projects tile sets can be used multiple times and it will get pretty frustrating if you have to make new tile sets for every scene you make. So now let's move on to terrains, which are basically the new auto tiling in Godot 4. To make a terrain, we head over to the inspector tab yet again, selecting the tile map, and under terrain sets, so under terrain sets we can create a new element, and here we can choose the mode. This is full 3x3. If you have used Godot 3, that is, you will understand this. This is 3x3 minimal and this is 2x2. For this video we will be using 3x3 minimal because honestly I still do not understand how the full version works. Now let's create a new terrain element, and here is the fun part. We can now change the name of the layer. We also need to get into layers, but let's do this first. We can call it grass and give it a, this is green, so we can use opposite color for contrast, and we can create another layer and call it dead grass for the other variant of grass we got over here. And this is yellowish, so we can use something like a bright blue. And let's get into painting. So again, selecting the Tileset tab from the bottom bar, we can go over to the paint option, and here we would find the new option called terrains. and you can create multiple terrain sets from here, but for this example we would only need one. So let's go. Here we can select the terrain set. Again, if you have multiple, you can choose from multiple terrain sets. And here we see two options. So the first option we want is grass, so we can select the grass and can select the tiles that we want. I think that's basically it for the tiles, and here where the alternative tiles come in handy. So for example, we do not have the flip version of these tiles, so we need to make them. So to make them, select the tiles, right click on them and create alternative tile, but we have already created an alternative tile for this one, so we are just gonna select this, hold down control and select this, hold on shift and select this. So we have selected two tiles, we can right click on them and create alternative tile, and this two will be selected still, so we can switch on flip on the flip horizontally, so we get this. Now let's go over to painting. Again, we will be selecting the new tiles and let's start painting. So we want to paint this tile basically when there is a tile on the bottom corner right here. Turn to print this when there are two tiles here, so it checks tile is right here and right here. We want to print this. I do not know if we need the middle part just yet or not, so let's keep it on hold. And basically of this we only want to place it when there is a tile diagonally, and basically we can go with the flow. So we want to place this when there is tiles all around, and place this when there is no tiles around. We got this, and I think we can get into painting now. I guess it's a lot of trial and error, and I'm still learning, so let's try it out and see if it works. You can turn on and off the grid from here, and we can select this mode, connect mode, and start painting. We can see nothing really happens, and we need to change modes to do this, but let's try to fix that. You can select another tile, that is this blank tile, and fill it completely. I guess this is how I made it work in the other version. And now connect mode magically paints terrain like how we want. So there will still be some cases where you cannot print the terrains, generate the terrains according to the auto tiling. In that matter, we can go over to the tilemap tab. This is finally where we start using the tilemap tab. We can go to tiles and select a specific tile and just color it, paint it on our canvas. For example, let's say we want to print this word. Oh, we got moving stripes, but I think I don't know how to use it, so yeah, we can paint birds like this, and we can basically select any tile we want and paint it. Like I showed in the beginning of the video, we can paint scenes too. So let's focus on another important thing in the tiles tab, layers. Tile map tab, that is layers. To create a new layer, we can head over to inspector, layers, and create a new layer here. We can name this new layer whatever we want. Let's call it beta, and let's call the first one alpha. And if we move over to the tile map tab, we can see we are in alpha layer. So if we go to the beta layer and let's say select this tile and print, and go back to the alpha layer and print this over this. We come back, we can see that the alpha layer is above the beta layer is above the alpha layer, and if we switch this up, we can see that the alpha layer is above the beta layer. So basically the layer which is on the bottom will appear before every other layer, so we can have multiple layers and do this stuff. So we don't need another layer right here, so we can delete this and we can get rid of this layer. So let's focus on some shortcuts which perhaps you have noticed me using. So let's say we need to create a straight line. Of course we can do it like this, but here you can see I made a mistake. So we can click somewhere, hold down shift, and I think I messed up. So we can select the line tool from here or press L on the keyboard. This will select the line tool, and we can create a line like this and it will be automatically filled out. Pretty cool. We can also create multiple lines like this and make a level. And to erase tiles, we right click and erase them. Of course my line tool is activated, so it will erase in lines. Let's go back to the pencil tool, and let's say we need to work hard to erase this, as you can see. So another shortcut is Control Shift and drag. We can draw a rectangle with this, and that's the shortcut I have been using to erase. So basically left click creates a rectangle and right click removes, because the left click is pen and the right is eraser. I guess it makes sense to you, I guess. And another tool, the most important tool I guess for me, is the fill tool, that is the bucket fill. It will be activated from the B key on the keyboard, and we can fill entire sections with this. Let's say we want to replace this tile, so we can switch off contiguous and select this tile. Let's say we want to replace them with this red bird. We can go to the fill tool, switch off contiguous, and see all of the birds will be replaced. Let me just grab something real quick. So basically got a message from my friends on Discord. I've turned on don't disturb on my phone now, so probably won't happen again, I'm sorry. So basically we are talking about how the bucket tool works. So let me tell you the shortcuts. For selection, you can hover over this if you want. Selecting is S. For the pencil tool, it's D. I do not know why is that. And yeah, I think I was right. You can click somewhere. Need to be in the select tool in the editor to do this. And click somewhere, hold down shift and create a line. But you will hold down shift first, then you can create a line. Yes, pretty easy. I'm dumb. I'm a dumb piece of shit. So again, we can use the line tool like this. Control Z. So selection is S. We can select. Selection is S. It's not how it's supposed to go. I'm making mistake again and again. We need to click in the empty area in the tile map to make sure we are in the tile map editor. And here, what the hell is going on? I have no idea. So D is for pencil tool, like you can see. Shift and drawing with the left mouse button is the line tool. Control Shift and drawing with the left mouse button is the rectangle tool, and Control Shift and right clicking is the erase tool. Right clicking is erasing in general, and you can hold Shift and right click to erase in a line, and the bucket tool is B. You can right click to erase, or you can left click to fill. And if it's I think you do not understand the power of contiguous, so let's do this. Now we will be going into our draw tool. So D for drawing, D so is the pencil, paint, draw tool. D for drawing, easy to remember. So let's say we have a few birds scattered all over our place and we want to change them. So let's say we want to replace them by this. If I select this bird, it will only replace that bird, but if we turn off contiguous, it unveils the real power of this tool. That sounded way too dramatic. So basically it will replace every same tile on the map, so every bird is now removed. So now let's take a look at the auto tiling. So now we'll take a look at that at the last of the video. So let's take a look at how we can do scattering. This is a new thing added in Godot 4. So basically you can select a sprite or multiple sprites, I mean tiles, from the tilemap editor, and here you will see a dice icon. You can click on that to turn on scattering, but however scattering is set to 0, so there is no scattering right now. We can change this number by entering a value like 10. So you see that it randomly places a bird based on that number. Oh, nice. So of course we can use it with our tools. Let's say we want to populate a large area with the stone sprites right here. So let's select all of them and say we want to fill the whole screen. We can create a large area. Oh no, my computer is gonna crash, I guess. Let's try it anyway. So we can see it fills out randomly, but this is way too dense and we don't need this, so let's do it on a smaller scale. Let's change this to 100 and get it like this. So you can see we got random rock sprites here and there, and I guess that pretty much sums up the tiling system. Now let's make a small game out of this so you can put your learning into something necessary. So let's first go over to our fire torch and let's add a particle system. I can name this fire. Let's add a particle system. We are going to be using a GPU particle system. I think this is easier than the CPU particle system and also have a higher performance on it. Created our GPU particle system. Hold down Alt and make sure you have selected the GPU particle system. Hold down Alt and move it about to the origin of the fire. We can, because our sprites are too small. I think this will do. We have to make do with that. Now let's create a new process material from the inspector. You can come under this and create a particle process material. You can see that it's falling down. That's not what we want. But first let's configure the particle settings from here. We can decrease its lifespan by quite a bit. This is only fire, and we can decrease the time scale too, because smoke will not fly. We can increase the randomness a little bit and the explosiveness a little bit, just for fun. So now let's come to the process material and let's create a new process material that will So first I would like to change the emission shape. So under emission shape we will change it from a point to a sphere, and as we increase this size of the sphere, you can see the particles appear from more spots. First of all, let's change the speed scale to normal so it's easier for us to work with. So basically a small scale, and I think it looks nice. And we can add a little bit of initial velocity, but this never really works out for me, so we are gonna go under gravity and change the y gravity to -98. This way the particles will float up just like we want. And now we can decrease the speed scale a little bit and add a bit more particles, let's say 20. I think this looks pretty convincing. Let's change the size of this sphere just by a little bit. Now let's change the color. So under color, we'll use a new color ramp and create a new gradient texture 1D. Select that, and under the gradient we can change it. So we can see it changes from black to white. So we want it to change it from like the black color right here. Can be a little tricky, but I believe you can do that. And let's select the red color, and for the white we can select the smokes color, this one. So this gives a pretty convincing look. And just for fun, let's add a point light 2D. Let me just grab a texture for this real quick. So I'm back and I've grabbed the texture of a sprite. I will try to provide this in the description, but you can also grab it from the web. So we can drag it drop onto the texture right here, and we won't see much right now, but let's create a color red 2D so we can see what's going on, and drag it up to the top so it's behind everything else. No, we don't want to move our particles. No, move it here and increase its size. You can change the color to something a bit darker, that way you can see what's going on. And here we can decrease the scale a little bit. I think this looks fine, and we can change the color too. So we want the red of the color, so this is not the real color, this is illuminated by the light. Let's grab the real color from here. We come to the gradient where we selected the real color, click on the color, and here we can copy the hex code and print it right here. Press enter and we got nice light working. So if we save this now and head over to our scene, let's start making a level. But first let's make a player, 2D scene, call this player. Actually let's make it a kinematic body. I forget this every day. Let's make this a character body 2D, add a sprite to it, and we are of course gonna use the legendary Godot logo for this. Hold down Alt and Shift on your keyboard, select one of the corners, and we're gonna scale it down quite a lot because ours is a pixel art game. Let's save this and add it to our scene to see how it looks next to our pictures. We can drag it drop here. That's way too small, we need to scale up. Alt Shift and increase the size a bit. Let's see now. I think we may need to increase it a more, and we can decrease the size just a tiny bit, and I think that's perfect actually. So Godot provides script for this kinematic body, so we will be using this because I don't want to get into too much details right now. Let's add the collision shape 2D and then change its shape to the shape of our layer right here, and let's paint our level. So if you remember, we have already set up the stuff that we need. Oh, we forgot to touch on patterns, so let's do it real quick. We can go to the tile map, Tileset, can select the Tileset asset from here, and let's say this is a real common thing for us to paint, just turn off cascade thing. We want to paint this repeatedly without selecting, and go to patterns. It's doing wrong. So basically here comes the selection tool. We can select the selection tool from here and select the tile right here and Control C and paste it in the patterns. Now if we select this pattern and use our paintbrush, we can paint this pattern just like any other tile. So I guess that was important. I don't know why I skipped over that. So let's make our level. You can I think this much of a level would do. Now let's do some lighting with the dots that we made. I'm not sure why it's not printing them. Oh, we have the eraser tool on. Just fill this up and go to the tiles and start creating the light. Oh, need to remove the color ray. We no longer need this. Save, and here you can see we can use the tile set thingy to print tiles. And just for fun, let's add a few of this block right here, and let's add a directional light 2D. This is also new in Godot 4, and under shadow, let's enable shadows. And if we rotate, press the rotate option, transform, and if we rotate this, you can see shadows. So I think our occlusion map is not set up properly, that's why it's glitching. Go to the occlusion layer 0 and select the blocks. Oh, I think we do not have this enabled right here, and I think that's it. Should be possible to use it now. Let's try. Okay. But we do not get any streaks of light, probably because we do not have a background. I have a quick workaround for that. That is, let's first create a camera for our player. Camera 2D, way too large. to zoom in quite a bit, and let's add a color rect to this. Yes, this is my fix. I know I'm a genius. Actually, we can make do with a sprite. I have no idea why I'm using a color rect. Let's add another sprite 2D and give it the same texture, and on the region of animation, on the region we can enable it, and edit region we want this to be only this tile. Little will also do, and if we increase in size we can see that the background color is matched, but we don't want this to cover all players. So under ordering you can see Z index is 0, so let's select all of this and change their Z index ordering, their Z index to 1. You can see the player appears before all of that, and here we can change the Z index of the tile map to 2. This is a personal choice, you can of course change it later. So let's go to the player and save, and we can see shadows now. Nice. Let's configure the shadows a bit because this is way too sharp. I mean, I like that. Let's soften it out a bit. We are in a cave after all. Let's change the rotation. Like I said, those will also cast shadows. And now I think we can try out the game. Let's see if it works or not. There isn't much stuff going on. Should work. We can move, jump, and we can see that the Z index of the torches are above the player. There is a quick fix for this. I'll be sharing it just after a while. I mean right now. We can see we can move around, do stuff, and up. We can also fall, but it does not look very nice. So under player we can go to the camera and enable smoothing, fire torch. Let's go to the player first and change its ordering to right and change its ordering to 3, so it's above the layer. So if now we move around, you can see that is in front of those, and of course you can change the movement speed and stuff, but yeah. And here you can see there is a bug right here. Basically there is a display styles, I guess. We can fix that by selecting the tile map, going to the selecting the Tileset asset and using the tile map thingy to open up the grass, and we can fill it out. No going through the ground anymore. And I guess that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you have learned how to use the new Tilemaps system in Godot 4. It's a bit more complicated than the previous versions, and you can see the color rect is running out. We don't want that happening. So let's parent it to the camera instead. You can see it's much better now. It's a cheap fix, but it works, so we can use it. If you have any questions, you can put them in the description comment section. I will be going through every comment. And that's it for today's video. I'll be seeing you in the next video, which can be a dev vlog or another tutorial. Stay tuned for that, and see ya. Have a great day.